Hi everyone, it's Marcy Denning here from Stampin' with Marcy. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Canada, and I am so excited to share a project with you today using brand new Stampin' Up! Product that is available in my online store right now. The new annual catalog went live on May the 4th, so we are now allowed to show the inside of the catalog, and everybody can order some of this fabulous new product. So today's card is going to be using a couple different stamp sets. I'm using the Quiet Meadow, the Pansy Patch, as well as I'm going to be using the this label die here from the Tasteful Labels. I'm going to be using some of the beautiful polished pink open weave ribbon, and my card base is the beautiful new in color polished pink, and I'm pairing it with So Saffron. Now I have already gone ahead and stamped and colored in my card front, because as I'm going to show you, this is what we're going to be creating today. Flowers are my absolute favorite plant. I just love flowers of all types. So with this here, I layered them using a mask to stamp. So I started in the corner and then placed my mask over top, and then went both ways using my mask, as you can see, to continually stamp along that card front. And then I have actually fussy cut it out, and I have used the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder on my background as well to give it more interest. And I am also using the Genial Gems. They are also brand new product, and I'm coloring with the light and dark polished pink Stampin' Blends. So let's get started. So my card here, I am going to take a piece of grid paper, and I have the splatter stamp from the Quiet Meadow, and I am going to ink it up with my So Saffron, and I'm going to stamp off twice, and then just random stamp. This time I'll do 3 times. Just random stamping all around my card front to add a bit more interest to that. Okay, so now I am going to close this up, and we are going to bring in our Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder, and we are going to give this some texture so that it just adds to the interest of the front of the card. So I've got my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine off to the side, so I'm just going to quickly run this through. Okay, and there we have it, just adding a little bit more to that card front. And I sometimes find that it is I don't want it quite as textured, so I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to take my bone folder, and I am just going to give it a press to kind of flatten out some of those really deep impressions, so that it just is a little softer looking for me. So okay, next we are going to fussy cut. I do apologize, this is going to just take a few moments. So I am going to cut around to get rid of a lot of that excess. And we are just going to quickly, leaving a little bit of a halo, cut around all of my flower petals. And every time you do this, it's going to look a little different. You're not going to stamp your flowers the exact same. And that is the beauty of doing a handmade card, that each one is individual and personalized in the look of it. Now, although the Quiet Meadow does have some lovely sentiments, I wanted the sentiment from the pansy petals. I thought it was just a fabulous sentiment to use for a card. So that is why I mixed the two different stamp sets. I really like to do that because depending on what I want that card that I've created, what I want it for, who I want it for, I want to sometimes use a sentiment from another stamp set. So that is why I chose that sentiment. Okay, we're almost halfway through. As you can see, I am not taking my scissors for the most part off of the cardstock. I am turning the cardstock and leaving my scissors cutting, so that way I don't get it. It's not as jagged, it's a much smoother look to the finished fussy cut image. And I just thought by doing this would add so much more to my card rather than just leaving it the whole card front just with these flowers stamped on the side. Just something fun and different to do, a little bit more unique for my card to send to my recipient. It's fun to create and play with different looks and ideas for your cards to personalize them, I think. And as you can see, I am almost done. It really does not take that awful long to fussy cut. Practice makes perfect. Now, all of the measurements as well as product links will be on my blog post that coordinates with this video. So please click on the description box below and you will find the link to my blog embedded in that. So you can just pop on over there to see what all of my measurements are, as well as the products I have used. All right, so there we have it. Isn't that so fun and easy and pretty? And then I will just glue that right down. Okay, so bring in my silicone craft sheet. Kind of flatten that out a bit as it's curled. All right, so we want to be fairly generous with our liquid glue because we don't want this popping up. The liquid glue is my adhesive of choice, as I have more control. I can move it once I've put it down to my next layer. I've got the opportunity to move it into place in case I haven't quite stuck it down right. I like having that opportunity to have just a few more moments, because generally speaking, I do not stick things down straight. So I'm going to line this up with the bottom here, and the side. There we go. Giving it a press, flip it over to really get a good press. And there we have that. Okay, so now we are going to take and adhere this to my So Saffron layer. These colors look beautiful together. The vibrancy of the polished pink with the subtle So Saffron. Okay. Now let's take our card base, take the bone folder, fold and burnish, and we can adhere this to the card front. And look at how vibrant that is and how much it just makes those flowers pop. So lovely. Okay, now let's take and stamp our flower in the bottom corner of our insert piece. Okay, so let's just stick that right there. And then we're going to set this aside for the moment because we want that to dry a little bit. So now we're going to come in with our sentiment, wishing you a little extra happiness just because you're you. What a fabulous sentiment. And this can be for any type of greeting card, not just a birthday card, I think. And right in the center. Now the Quiet Meadow and the Pansy Punch both have dies that coordinate together as a bundle. You'll see that in my online store. There we go, lovely. Okay, so now we are going to bring in the silicone craft sheet and our ribbon. I want my ribbon just on the left-hand side of my sentiment. So when I flip it over, that means that's on the right. So I'm going to take my Stampin' Seal, because I like to use this to adhere my ribbon down. Okay, so I'm going to take my ribbon and I'm just going to hold it up to see what length I'm going to want. So I know I can just tuck that a little bit shorter. That should be good. So I am just going to take my snips and just snip that end. Fold it in half like that. Flip that over. Make sure that's fairly even there, and there we go. So now we can come in with some dimensionals, and because this is a sheer ribbon, you don't need to worry about it adding really a whole bunch of extra bulk to your card front there to that label piece by adding a dimensional right over top, because it's really not adding that much to it at all. Make sure that I am putting it on the right way, and we are just going to kind of center that there, maybe just a smidge higher. Lift it up to make sure that I am sticking it down straight. There we go. Okay, so we've given this enough time to dry. So we're just going to come in, oh, wrong end, with our dark So Saffron, and we're going to color that center. Then we're going to come with our light polished pink and color all the petals. I'm not going super fancy with this at all. I like to turn so that I am kind of got it in front of me more, the area that I'm coloring, rather than reaching across, especially when I have a camera, or my iPhone, I should say, right in front of me. Being careful not to go over that line. Pinks and reds really do bleed with the Stampin' Blends, I find. So, all right, so I want to add some highlights or dimension to it. So I'm using what the artists at Stampin' Up have kind of told us where to add those highlights to that petal. Wherever it is dark, that's what you're going to do. Now, if I had have done all of those flowers, you would be here for hours. So this is just showing you how I colored all of those flowers on the card front. Just about done. Now you can leave it like this, or you can soften those lines slightly by coming back over with your light, that's what I'm going to do, and just kind of go over that, and it kind of blends out those lines, softening them. And you can leave some lighter areas. The more you apply the color, the more saturated it's going to be. So if you leave a few areas where there's not that extra layer, it's going to add more of a highlight to your colored petals. All right, there we go. So now that is ready to go on to the inside. Let's bring back our silicone craft sheet. This year's new in colors are so beautiful. I absolutely love this polished pink. It's a great, great color. All right, there we go. And then the final thing we're going to do is add a few of these genial gems. So let's take our glue and we're going to add one. I always like to add a touch of my liquid glue so that I am sure that my embellishments are not going to come off in the envelope before they get to the recipient. And 3. There we have it. Okay, so I hope you liked today's project. Please check that video description below the box so that you can see the link to head on over to my blog so that you can take a look at all of the measurements and products that I have used. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope to see you again in the next video.